On the Yardman video that I just posted the premiere of, you guys blew up the comments about this lawn boy in the background. I really honestly hadn't planned on doing anything on it, but considering how you guys blew up the comments, I am not going to argue. So I ended up with this lawn boy on a 2-for-1 deal. The lawn boy basically was a freebie as long as I took it with that machine there. So the battery was in that machine from the lawn boy, and then they managed to go and blow the connecting rod in the engine, and we're going to try and rebuild that one. So this machine here. But this lawn boy actually runs. It runs. It's got a 16 horsepower Briggs & Stratton L-head opposed twin. And so the battery was supposed to be here. I've got it in on the charger right now. And it actually runs, and it runs really good for a flathead. And the mower deck is in amazing condition for its age. It's good old-fashioned iron. As you can see, 42-inch old-fashioned deck. It's got one rust hole, is the only one I've been able to find so far, but we'll see underneath later. So, why was it free? Well, the story goes like this. I was doing okay with it, and I was mowing in second, and it made a really bad noise. All of a sudden, second didn't go anywhere. But I figured out that I could still mow while I was in third gear, and I still had 4 and 5. But progressively I lost third, progressively I lost fourth. I don't know whether I have 5. And my wife was mowing in first gear, and it just all of a sudden stopped, and I've had enough. So I bought that. That was the story that I was told, and I'm going to go with the idea it's all true, because if that is in any gear, including neutral right now, this thing tries to take off. And I'm pretty sure it's stuck in somewhere between third or fourth gear, because it tries to take off pretty darn decently. So we're going to get it pushed in now that we got that all cleaned up, and go from there. Alright, so when you put a machine in neutral, the pulley should be disconnected on the top. So if I take it and I slam it into fifth, and I bring it back into what's in neutral, and you watch down here when I give it a shove, that is not what it's supposed to do. Alright, and this is very hard to push with it acting that way. There we go. Thank Jesse for doing the demonstration work. Yeah, go ahead. Grab the shop toad.
Hi, pretty. Hi, pretty.
You got a very squeaky little female shop toad.
Hi, pretty.
You're noisy.
Say hi.
You are noisy. Okay.
You're cute.
Alright, go stick her underneath the stairs where she likes to go and eat the... Don't drop her.
She jumped. She's a good jumper. That's
Alright.
my shoe.
Alright, well, stick her under the stairs so she can go and eat the crickets. Yep.
Stop.
Okay, that's enough.
Jumping.
Poor thing. Anytime that I start to tear a machine down, I always look to see if there's anything that is fresh. This right here, these are stainless steel, so it doesn't really count as fresh because they just don't corrode. But I always double check, watch for bolts and stuff, and I watch for things like this. This is a transmission mounting bolt, and look, it is That one there literally just unscrews. So somebody started to get into here, and there's random bits of brand spanking new hardware on here that are recent. So it can't have been sitting too long. Yeah, somebody's definitely been in here reasonably recent, because none of these are rusted up like they usually are if they've been there a while. And this machine's too old. So let's see if we can drum roll drop it onto some drumsticks here. Let's see. And okay, let's try for it. Score. Alright, so I already undid the brake over on this side because this one was easy. It's just a cotter pin. That's how a lot of these 801 setups are. So now I just need to undo that shifter linkage there, and we should be able to pop this thing off. Yeah, there is definitely some interesting MacGyver stuff going on with this setup. So if you look at this, that one is welded in. Somebody cut it out of another hub and welded it in there. This side axle here is about 6 inches or so long, whereas this one over here is like 8 inches long. What in the world is going on in this thing? I wonder if they rebuilt the differential and put it back together with the axles backwards. I don't know. We're going to pop it apart and we're going to find out, though. Alright. I was right. There definitely was somebody in this machine, and specifically in this transmission at some point. Let's talk about this. First of all, this right here, this coming out, this is water diffusing out of the oil that is currently leaking from this. There's a hole there. There's a hole as we flip it over. But the worst problem is that it's had a hole before. So for those of you who love JB Weld, this one's for you guys. That's an aluminum plate, JB welded on. Another aluminum plate, JB welded on. So somebody's been in here before. There's a giant hole there, if you didn't see it before. And the other reason I can tell that somebody's been in this before is if you look at this one here, these are factory RTV sealed with usually gray or black, and that is orange. So anytime that you see orange sticking out, you know somebody's already been there. Obviously, this is probably not rebuildable, but for your viewer enjoyment, we're going to break it open. Alright, let's see what we find. So, I have not even tapped the outside of this. It is so screwed up that when I removed the last couple of bolts, it actually popped on its own. So, the fact that this requires nothing to be able to get this lid loose is not a good sign. Okay, come on. There it goes. Oh yeah, that sounds chunky. What was that? Oh, okay. Alright. That's actually not overly too bad. So, right there is where the hole through the top of the lid is, which would be right about in here. But I don't see anything there. Where did the oh, there we go. There's where our chunkies came from. So yeah, that eventually ended up causing this. Whoop, there it is. See that? If you can see it. That's a broken shift key right there. That should have more to it. and it's actually just sitting there half whatever. See, there's the full length shifting key, and there's the broken one. See the difference? So I'm going to bet if I lift this out and off to the side here, so that looks in okay condition. But somewhere in here, I'm going to bet we find the bottom chunks to this. So this is your reverse chain, and this is your forward gears. There we go. Oh yeah, right there. That is what used to be that gear right there. So something wasn't quite happy. Oh, there's another chunk of it right there. Look at that bearing. Isn't that thing just giant and gaumy? Gotta love it. I love these because they're actually full bearing right here and right here. And they've actually got a full carrier as far as this is concerned. But they're getting rare and they're getting hard to find. Trying to do this with one hand is not easy because the bearing binds on each side. There it goes. Oh, that right there, that's what we're looking for. That right there is the other end of that shift key. That is what's supposed to be right there. So what's really sad is I bet that we could probably go and throw this thing back together with this removed and just the singular shift key, and I bet it would probably actually work. But that would be really shoddy, and we're not going to bother doing that. Yeah, look at the hole. So since I can't seem to find what's left of that gear, I'm going to bet it somehow managed to make itself back into here and then got blown through the side of the case. Because I've seen that happen with MST 206s. MST 206s usually tend to blow their fourth gear, and it eventually cycles through the case and clunks around and then eventually goes straight through where the differential is. Alright, so this is a lost cause. So we're going to grab that one there. We're going to see if we can get those tires off of it, and we're going to see if we can open that one up. And if that one is savable, then we'll put the machine back together. I've shown this a bunch of times in other film, how to do this live, but all I take is a torch and I go in underneath, and on your tire you heat this here. You want to heat right here where this seam is, and aim the torch right at it, get it as hot as you can. And all I do is just oga. I take a punch that I know is smaller than the diameter just in case it goes through. I hold it like that and I wallop it with a hammer. There's nothing special, no major thing. This was a piece of steel that I found for a tire changer that just happened to be the right size. But you could use a piece of axle that you grind down. You could use anything. But just make sure it's smaller than the rim diameter by a good solid like inch and a quarter or so worth of length. And just drive it in. It's that simple and that much of a caveman thing. If you have one of these stuck pulleys to go and get off, I'll include a link down below on how to get them off by using a torch and candles wax. But one of the things I wanted to point out is that in that video I used 2x4s. On an 801 you cannot use 2x4s. There is not enough clearance. So you have to use 1-inch square stock of something. In this case I'm using a couple of pieces of steel. I'm quite sure that this isn't going to go and hold up, but I'm going to use it anyway because it's throwaway. But basically it's the same idea that we did on the rim. You heat it as much as you can from the underside in that area underneath, and you drive it through. These are pre-dimpled on most of them. If you don't have the dimple there, take the time to drill one in. It'll definitely save you time. And also, this one here is the type that had the ring on it. So make sure you remove that first if yours has it. Alright, so here's another old machine helpful tip. If you have a brake caliper like this and you got your pins all rusted in like this one is, what you do is you take a small piece of square stock and you cut it off about the length of what the pins are. And then you find a bolt that is about the same diameter. You put it in a vise like this and then give it a crank. And it's going to make some horrible noises, but it's going to push it back through. And you're going to have to go back and forth with it a couple of dozen times. Yep, there's another horrible noise. There's another horrible noise. Oh, there it goes. See that? Sorry about the shaky camera. And so right there, that just popped out. There it goes. There's that. There's that. And there's the pin. So you take this and you sand it down nicely and you get it so it slides back and forth in there really nice. Put some anti-seize on it and you're good to go. Now I gotta do the other side. Well, I love my grinder and I love the drill. I've put it through hell. So I decided to pick up one of these SKIL impacts. They don't have the best ratings ever, but what I really like is that for the price, and I'll post a link down below, for the price it came with the 5 amp battery. So it comes with the charging station, the 5 amp battery, which is huge compared to a regular one. And it comes with this little top piece, which will be great for charging up electronic devices during power outages here in the state of Maine. And this little bugger. It should be nifty. We're going to go and give this thing hell, and we're going to see how it does. I'm really looking forward to being able to have this for use underneath and on the car lift and on the lawn tractors. We're about to go and put this transmission in, and basically the easiest way to go and do this usually is to have a jack or 2 people to go and do it with. This is one thing I've figured out over the years, is if you take a spare transmission pulley and you have a small jack that has a large lip on it, if you set that in, it gives you a little bit of a base to pivot off of and lift with. Makes it a lot easier. Are you able to get in there? Or do I need to raise the tractor?
Yeah, raise the tractor.
Teamwork, right, bud?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. There you go. High five. Good job.
I'm trying to hit my head on the fender.
Oh, okay. So I'm really enjoying this new little SKIL impact. At 200 pounds, it actually does quite a bit more than I was expecting it to. So these are the spindles in underneath. They actually seem to be doing pretty good. I gotta get the other bolt out on this. And then the one over there. But these blades definitely have seen better days. Focus there. Yeah, they need sharpening. You know, one thing I've learned over time is I don't even bother trying to figure out how anymore, or wondering why. I just kind of watch and observe. Interesting. There we go. Alright, so I know that the motor will run. I've managed to go and run it off of booster packs and stuff. So let's see if...
Oops, sorry. Here, let's try this again. Sorry.
Alright, I know that the motor will run. I've managed to run it off of a booster pack while I was trying to figure out what else was going on. But I've never tried to start it with the electronics here on the dash. So let's see if the ignition and stuff still works. Alright, so the type of solenoid that we've got in this unit is a base grounded solenoid like this one. So basically you've got battery coming in on one side and then the other side going out to the starter, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. This needs to be to a solid grounding point on the chassis or wiring right directly to the motor. And this you hit with a positive 12 volts and you should be able to kick the motor off. So we'll put that there for storage. And here we are with this, and we'll see if the solenoid actually does anything. Okay. To choke in. Alright, well, we're going to give it some gas and pull that lid off so we can give it some go-go juice. Alright, so we're going to open up the choke butterfly here and give it a little bit of go-go juice. Close the choke butterfly back up. Whoops, wrong direction. Close the choke butterfly back up. Grab our go-go switch. Oh, there we go. We thought about it. Okay, that was definitely a starter fluid only, but we've got plenty of gas in it now. So let's see if we can get it to prime. Okay, go button. Okay, put that choke back in, see if it's just that it warmed up enough. Well, there we go. As you can see, it runs, it cuts, it drives. And now, it needs to find a new owner. I don't tend to hold on to nostalgia stuff like this because I just don't have the storage for it or the place to go and keep it. I'll probably throw it up for 200 bucks and the first person to offer me, oh, I don't know, 200 bucks, will get to buy it. Somebody has done the work to do the coils and stuff in the engine, and the carburetor works just fine. And that's really the big thing about these flathead opposed twins, is once you get that done, everything else is pretty easy. I don't like that the side panels are missing. That's bad juju. Please don't do that if you're going to be working on these. Save those side panels. And for everybody who was about to go and yell at me earlier that I messed up, you're right, I did. So apparently this lawn boy had an offset axle. So what I should have done was I should have pulled the axle assembly out of the other transmission, and I should have dropped it in with the longer side going this way, because if you look very carefully, let me take this off my tripod. If you look very carefully, you will see that that side goes slightly to that direction, and that this side is nice and straight. And so I should have put the longer of the two axles in on this side. But it is what it is. It runs, it cuts, it drives perfectly flat, even though it's off by 1 inch to either side, as you can see. And I'm not too worried about it. Oh, the electrical issue turned out to be that people that seem to think that wire nuts are how you fix electrical issues should not be allowed to work on these. So we had this point here where I really will end up replacing that. But basically I found this mess inside of a wire nut, and it really honestly should have been connected right directly to the battery, and it wasn't. So now the battery charges, the PTO actually works, and the ignition even works. So I hope this video was informative to you, and I hope it was able to give you a couple of tips and tricks and things that you can be able to go and do yourself. And if you're on YouTube, I'm sorry that you can't comment, but if you go over to the community tab, I'll make sure there's a picture of this unit over there so you can tell me exactly what you think. If you're on Facebook, well, they don't think you're children, so it's okay. You can comment all you want. Have a good day. Bye.